Welcome to the design guide for the new HTML wallpaper or Rails ad unit. So we're looking at a preview of this ad unit, and basically what it's designed to do is to take over the margins for advertising space that are immediately to the left and immediately to the right of your core website content. This ad is designed so that it can stay fixed. These images can stay fixed as you scroll up and down within the website. Both of these rails stay fixed, and they're also clickable. You can send them to the same or different URLs when someone clicks on this space. These ads are typically designed to be viewed on desktop machines. They are HTML, so they will show up on mobile or tablet devices, with the caveat that if those mobile or tablet devices have a margin that's viewable on your website. Oftentimes the tablet and mobile versions really don't show much of a margin. They pretty much go full screen. So when you're selling these out there, they're typically going to be viewable and have the most impact on a desktop type browsing situation. So we're going to show you how to build this, and the first thing are the design considerations. How do you build this? It's basically just one big image that you're uploading to the background of your site. So let's say your site looks something like this. We have you take a screen grab of it as a designer. You're going to throw that screen grab into Photoshop or your photo editing tool. And the first thing you're going to do is come over here and basically crop this image so that you only see the width of your exact site. So we're going to, in essence, do that here. So now we've cropped the image down so that we only see our site, and this is going to give you an exact idea of where your viewable area is going to be to the right and to the left of your site. So the next thing we do is add in our content. So this would, for instance, be the image that would go on the left and right, and if I make the middle disappear, this is really all we're playing with as the designer. Basically what's going to go from here to the right and from here to the left. As we build this ad, we'd probably crop this down again before we actually use this image. So we'll crop this down like that and crop it at the bottom. So your final image could look like this. You may even want to take off the left and right rails, but basically you're going to do the whole thing on a transparency just to keep the weight of the file down. You really don't want to be uploading stuff with content here because it's not really going to be viewable anyway. And the thing to remember is, I'm going to add in a center line here. These ads are centered on the page. These are designed for center justified websites, as most websites out there are. They're going to be center justified so that as I'm scrolling back and forth, there's a center line here to which this image in the background is referencing. That way it shrinks with your site correctly and expands as someone is moving their browser window open and closed. So that being said, when you're designing your hit areas for this ad, as I mentioned, you have a hit areas 1, 2, 3, and 4, like all our ads that you can put on here. They're going to be offset from the center line here. So if you had, basically you're going to want to make a hit area that in essence is the same height and width of your images on either side. I'm just for reference purposes going to put a rectangle here that is the same height and width as this image. So we'll do that. Let's say that's your hit area. I'll make it more transparent so you can see behind there. So what I would do in this case is to position this, and we'll show this to you inside the actual ad builder in just a second. This hit area by default lives right here. It's going to be justified to the top right hand corner of your site. So when you're determining where this hit area is going to go, it's basically how many pixels to the right, how many pixels down. In this instance, we'd throw it, roughly 500 pixels to the right to have it live right on top of your ad. And when you're designing the hit area for the left-hand margin, the same thing's going to happen. The hit area is going to start here, so you're going to make it negative, so negative 500 pixels, and you might need to do it farther because it's 500 pixels plus the width of the ad. If we only did negative 500 pixels, it would go to here. So we're going to do 500 plus another 2, so call it about 700 pixels to the left and put that in as a negative margin. So now that you've seen that in Photoshop, again, your saved out file for Impact Engine is going to look like this. You're just going to save it as a PNG or GIF with the transparency in there and upload it to your account. Now let's jump over to the ad builder. You'll see for this unit there's really only one image to upload. It's basically any size you want, pop it in here, and that's it. When you're previewing the ad from inside your account, remember that we obviously don't have your website image uploaded here, so it's just going to show you your full image here with a white background. And really what the main step here is to configure your hit areas within this preview window and to make sure they're overlapping on your images perfectly. And then the next step will be to deploy it to a test page to make sure it's looking aligned exactly correct. But if you've done a screen grab, it should work perfectly. Next step up, colors. All you have is your test mode. Click-through URLs. You can have up to 4, but typically for this ad, you're basically just going to be using hit area 1 and 2, and most of the time they're going to be the same. We're just going to have 2 separate ones so we can configure those hit areas. So as we come down here to settings, you'll see right away we jump into activate custom hit area 1. Yes. In this instance, our hit area 1 is 211 pixels by 1,000 pixels tall. That happens to be the dimension of this image on both sides, 211 by 1,000. And then the next step is going to be custom hit area 1 horizontal offset. Again, how many pixels to the right starting at that center line? We're going to say 484 in this case and 0 because it's justified to the top. And then we have activate custom hit area number 2. Yes, we're going to make that 211 by 1,000 again because that happens to be the width and height of our left rail over here. And our offset's going to be negative because we're moving that to the left. So you'll notice the first one was 484, and to accommodate for that 211 pixels, the offset is going to be negative 484 plus the 211, which gets us to 694 in terms of total length to the right. But again, you can eyeball all of this by coming down to the bottom, activating test mode, and as always when we have test mode on, it's going to highlight those areas in green. So you'll see we've done this just right. Hit area 2 is here, hit area 1 is here, and they're both clickable. Obviously if we hadn't done that perfectly, let's say we accidentally made this 594 and preview, you'll see our hit area is not aligned 100% over there. We obviously have to bump it farther over. So once you've got your hit areas aligned, the only other thing to note here is obviously turn off testing mode before you deploy it. And then the setting number 21 is use fixed position for wallpaper image. The difference there is if we come over here and view the ad, right now it's set to fixed position yes, so that when we scroll up and down, this image stays fixed. If we swap that out to no, which is going to be a less normal circumstance, but you can do it, and we'll refresh the page over here. Now what's going to happen is basically this image is going to scroll down and up as we scroll with the page. So typically what you're going to want to do is keep this setting set to yes, and that's going to be your standard case scenario. So as always, next step is going to be to come over to your campaigns, actually grab the ad code for this ad, deploy it onto a test page, and then when you preview it, your ad on a test page, you're going to be able to see your actual web content in the middle and make sure it's aligned perfectly. If you need to make any tweaks or adjustments, you do that to the image here in Photoshop, re-upload your new image, and you're off to the races. As always, if you have questions, call us at 866-467-2289.